We're on the Country versus Metal podcast with Ryder Grimes. How you doing, man?
Man, doing good. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's starting to warm up here in the Northeast, so it's nice. If the days would get longer, that'd be even
Man,
even better.
I felt you there. It's starting to warm up here in Texas, but we know tornadoes are going to come through tomorrow, and then next week it's going to be 37 again. So just all a part of it, man. But we're living down here. That's all I can say. But it is warmer.
Yeah, I saw you cut your hair off.
I did. It's all gone. It's actually growing back kind of now, but yeah, man, there for a while I had it buzzed pretty good. I still at the top, but the sides were gone. So I think I'm gonna give it based on fan request. I think I'm gonna grow it out a little bit, but I'm not gonna go as, in too deep as I did last time. I
Yeah,
loved it, but it was too hard to take care of on the road.
uh,
And I, that's one of the things I'm blessed with was good hair. And I'm like, man, I'm not gonna have this good hair and not take care of it. So I'm gonna cut it off or take care of it. And I just said cut it off.
yeah, dude. I hear you. I've had long hair a couple times in my life, and the last time I cut it off, it was like 16 inches, and it was just it,
I
it's
think that's where mine was.
it's liberating. I don't know how the ladies do it, especially like being an artist. Like when you're not going to wait for five guys to shower if you're staying in a hotel. You just got to like wing it,
Yeah.
and it's like you put a hat on and you take that hat off, and it's like everything's stuck to everything, and no amount of
Yeah,
conditioner.
man. Man, I have major respect for women because for a lot of reasons, but man, the hair, man, I ask them like, how do y'all take care of y'all's hair? And it looks so good because I try and it don't work. But yeah, man, you wake up in whatever town you're in, and my biggest thing is forgetting to pack a hairbrush. And I'd wake up and
Uh,
I'd be laying there. I'm like, I didn't bring a hairbrush, and nobody else in this band has long hair, so I'm kind of out of luck. And I'm
yeah,
not just gonna go find some woman and say, "Hey, can I use your hairbrush?" Because that's weird. So man, that I definitely had that problem. That was the biggest problem about being on the road with long hair. Now, if you take care of it and you pack your hairbrush and all your products, you're gonna be fine. But I would run out of time or I'd run out of room. Usually run out of room. But
yeah.
yeah, man, I figured it was time to go. I call it my publicity stunt because it got me like 5 followers when I cut it off.
Oh, well, at least everybody's going to know you are because you have very distinct eyes. That's like,
Everybody says that, man. The blue eyes, and
yeah,
thank you for the kind words on that, man. But yeah, everybody's like your eyes. I'm like they're just blue, but I guess they're a special shade of blue that people like. So I am very thankful for that.
yeah. It's that was the one thing that like that popped on the first your album art. I was like, all right, and then you see like a picture of you. I was like, oh, that's no Photoshop there. That's
Man, I definitely got blessed with some good eyes. And yeah, once again, it's small things like that every day I'm more and more thankful for because I always thought I wasn't photogenic. And then you find these small things about yourself that, it makes you feel like you are. So definitely having good eyes was one of them. But honestly, between the eyes and the hair, cutting the hair off was the biggest thing for my health I've ever done. Surprisingly, health, you say that in hair, it doesn't really make sense. But man, I would use my hair as a security blanket. And I would be able to get away with being a little chubbier, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I was getting where I was feeling bad. I'm like, man, why do I feel bad? And I look at the scale, I'm 270 pounds, and I'm like, man, it's all because that hair was hiding the fat on my face. I'm like, "Yeah, I got to get rid of this." So I cut it, man. I've really gotten back in the gym and I've gotten cut up and just got a great trainer. So honestly, it's been a good change, man. And I'm really comfortable where I'm at. Bodily feature wise. So, man, I'm just having a good time out here. Just got to take care of yourself. And I finally realized that. And it's been the best thing when I really started to, start taking care of myself, prioritize my health, and just do it the right way, man. It's fun.
yeah, yeah. That's a big deal, especially like when you're on the road a lot because stuff like that, if it can bother you, and man, it'll bother other parts of you too, and just there's nothing worse than just being like upset with yourself and like the inner
Yeah.
struggle, especially if you're the kind of person that keeps it bottled up. Or that's
No,
just not
man,
good.
I completely agree with you. Especially, I mean, being on the road, there's so many challenges that come with that. I mean, it all depends on the kind of person you are too, and your mind and your mental strength and all that. But it's there's a lot of tests. I like to call them tests on the road, and it's just you've got to make yourself strong in some way to be able to withstand that. And there's so many different ways to do it. And mine lately has just been working out and keeping my mind focused. And everybody has a different remedy and way to fight those battles, but that's been mine lately. And man, it's been great because I've learned for just from over the years of having friends that have done this for a living, that being healthy on the road is the number one priority. You don't want to get sick on the road. And thankfully I haven't, but I've been close. And I've decided, I really got to get this on track because I don't, we're covering some ground this year. And it's like, I don't want to be sick in Georgia or like when I'm 800 miles away from my house. So, man, it's been a year of change, but a good year for sure.
Yeah, well, dude, that's great, and I love how like you're getting out there.
Man, we're trying. We're definitely trying, man. Just doing it the right way, and just playing the music we play and writing the music that we write, and just getting it out to the people, man. It's taking a little bit longer, but we're finding avenues to get it out there, and I'm starting to see a change, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, that's great to hear because the one thing like I always do like a little research, and
Yeah,
obviously I've heard you sing, and I love your voice,
thank you.
and I never heard you talk before, and I heard you talk, and it's almost like obviously it's not the same, but it's the anybody come up and be like, man, that sounds like he's trying to be like Randy Travis. It sounds like I'm like, no, man. Like watching you talk, I'm like, dude, he's just serenading people in conversation.
That's the
Because
best. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
dude, your voice it is reminiscent of like I don't know, like Randy Travis, dude. It's just right in the middle. It's a great chunk of frequency that just like melts in your ear. And I've learned to like never heard Randy Travis's name, let alone his voice. And it's great that like there's a lot of people that just say like, man, country music, it's not like how it used to be. The legends are gone and everything. And like, and like Zach Top right now is like
Oh
taking the
yeah.
country by storm. But it's like, do you ever get like not like frustrated or anything, but like you're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you're making music that people are finding that like they've been looking for from moving on in a generational type sense, and it's cool you're getting out there, and I really hope like people know like it's weird how like the market will get saturated. They always like just like one person or they just choose a couple people. And it's like, I've always been like, like you can only put out so much music. If you're going to put out quality
Yeah.
music, it's going to take some time. So like, it's great to have a bunch of artists that are like doing what you're doing. And I really hope to see, you like get there because I love your voice and, I really take your style. And I always say like you and Zach, y'all cost me like $3,000 with the Brent Mason because I
Yes, man. I forgot I talked to you about that.
yeah
I convinced you to get one along,
yeah
Zach plays one too.
yeah and I saw Zach live because you were like, yeah man, you were down in Texas, take one for a spin, and I didn't know that he played one. I didn't even know he was opening up, and I was like, oh man, this just seals the deal.
Yeah, man. I mean, Zach knows how to play it. I mean, I try. I've got tellies sitting right next to me that are identical to that guitar that I've had done. Just that I love that guitar so much. But no, man, Zach's definitely the real deal. I don't name drop a lot, and I never want to, but I'm very proud to say that I've gotten to watch Zach come up. So back about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I can't really remember exact date because I'm getting my years jumbled now that we're 25 years into 2000. But um, I think it was 22. Zach was this guy on TikTok. He was singing these great country covers. He didn't have an original music out yet, or he did. He had the bluegrass album, which is fantastic if you haven't listened to that. But my friend that owns a bar in Terrell, Texas, which is right down the road from where I live, he had called my dad. It's my dad's friend, but I've gotten to know him as I've grown up. And he's like, "Hey, I got this kid at the house. His name's Zach Top." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've heard that guy on TikTok singing Keith Whitley covers. He's freaking great." He's like, "Come over and sit by the fire with us, and let's play some guitar and sing." So we all go over there, and Zach's sitting there just man, I have videos of it somewhere on my phone. It's just singing all these old covers of these songs, and it's just so natural and so easy sounding. And that has got to be like the coolest story I've ever told. But man, I just love it because I'm so proud of that guy. And just like you said, he's taken the country by storm in a lot of different ways, and it's great to see somebody. He's kind of the one leading that torch, man, holding that torch. And there's so many great ones that are doing it as well. But Zach is definitely the one out there, really, really, really in the media doing it. And there's so many others coming up behind him, man. I'm just very thankful to be a small part of that and have gotten to watch Zach succeed. Because I remember the first night he played that show the next day. It was the night before when we were hanging out with him. He played the show the next day. He's like, "Yeah, we're going on a radio tour with this song. Sounds like the radio." And I'm like, okay, cool. And then the next, few months later, it was on the radio, and then bam, this dude's a superstar. And man, I just love to see it. Like you said, it's nice to know that that breath of fresh air is there, and somebody's carrying that torch. And not even just in country, man. I mean, what all's going on in the Texas rock, Texas country scene? I mean, there's so many people just carrying that flag, man, and it's really getting popular, and I love to see it, especially being a Texan, man. It's really cool to see. And Zach's not a Texan, but it's just nice to see somebody with the same taste as me and so many others really out there doing the thing.
Yeah, it's funny. There'll be a lot of artists that I know aren't from Texas, but I'll always be like, it's like, I'll say when they're like, what kind of country? I'll be like, Texas country. And like, to me, that just kind of means like, the good stuff. Something happened.
Sorry, I think I lost you there for a second. You got me?
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, somebody called, even though my phone's on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, that's what
What
happens.
were you saying though? I got you now.
No, I was just saying, like when people are like, they're like, what style of country? And it's funny how like if to me, if I'm like, oh, if it's good country, I'll go like Texas country, even though they might be from like a Carolina or
Yeah.
Arkansas, and it's just like, it's just yeah, and a lot of it has to do with just the way how the songs are just just truth, and you know what I mean. It's not your typical the it just doesn't have like what I don't like about the other stuff, and like the formula. There always seems to be like a
Yeah.
formula, and it's just always like somebody has that same song because so many producers sat down and said, "Hey, we're gonna make you a superstar, and we're gonna do this." And they'd be like, "Well, I never rode bulls." Well, you are today.
You
You know
are
what I mean?
now.
Yeah.
No,
Put your spurs on, cowboy.
yeah, put your boots on. You're getting on one a day. But no, man, I get what you're saying, and the more and more people I talk to, no matter where we go, I mean, we're branching out some more this year, and I'm really excited to see how the crowds differ in other states. Don't get me wrong, I love Texas. I'm a proud Texan, but I'm very excited to see what country music out of Texas does in other places. I mean, we've seen it with Cody Johnson, we've seen it with Parker McCollum, we've just seen how it's grown, and even guys like Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen. I mean, they can still go to Montana and pack 1,000 people, 2,000 people in these venues, and it's just. I feel like everywhere you go, and I've noticed this the more I've met people, everybody knows one Texas country song,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. I just feel like, and it's exactly what you said, man. There's such a storyteller aspect to it, and that's the kind of music I like to write at. Because Randy Rogers was one of my first songwriting heroes, and then obviously getting introduced to him introduced me to so many other great writers that he's talked about and so many others have. But getting to know those people and just listen to those songs, it's like, man, they're so deep and so rich with all sorts of different things. And when I got in this writing songs, I said, that's the kind of songs I want to write. That's the way I want to do it because one, that's how my heroes down here in Texas did it, but that's also how Merle Haggard did it, Glenn Campbell did it, George Jones. I mean, I could go on and on about people that just wrote songs like that, man. People are carrying that torch and people do want to hear that again. I truly believe. And that's why I've been frustrated lately. I've just been trying to figure out what to do. And the more
Yeah.
I sit back and realize, I'm like, just keep doing what you're doing. Because you see Zach, you see Braxton Keith, you see William Beckman, you see Kylie Fry, so many great people like that. It's taken a little bit longer, but it's working. And
Yeah.
I just told myself, like, hey man, you got this. Just keep writing good songs. And that's exactly what Randy told me the first time I met him. Just keep writing good songs. And it's really rang true to me the more and more I get deeper into this business. But no, I agree on everything you said right there.
Yeah. It's fun, and like also like I, you're doing different takes on social media, like with the ping pong, right?
Yes.
That's when I heard your voice and I was like, man, he sounds the same talking. I was like, man, that's amazing.
Oh
But
man, thank you.
it, it,
Go
it's
ahead.
it's just a cool, like, I know like social media is like another job, and it can get frustrating, especially when like you put time and effort and you do edits and everything and you see it's like 246 views, but it is nice for like if someone's never met you or anything. I like that side of it, like when
Yeah.
just you can tell when someone's faking a smile, or you know what I mean, but like or doesn't want to be in the room, or somebody that generally just does, and it like it just gives another aspect of, like doing these, like we've never met, but I felt like I kind of knew you in a way, and in like a,
Yeah, same here.
you know what I mean? Like, especially because like when I I love that song, "Time on My Hands,"
Oh, thank you.
and you know what I mean? Like, and I like the guitar tones on it, and I was, and a bunch of your other songs, and I'm like, this guy's knows what he's talking about country, and I was like, I need to get that Telecaster.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you did. I mean, I've got this sitting right here, like it just sits by my desk the whole time. And it's yeah, you gotta have a telly, I feel like. It's no
Yeah,
matter what you play. And honestly, the more I get into other kinds of music, tellies are a lot more popular than I thought. I saw somebody playing like a metal breakdown on a single coil telly the other day. I'm like, you're not supposed to be doing that, but it
yeah,
works and I like it. So yes, you gotta have the telly. And I've
yeah,
really started to understand why you say that, and everybody says that. Then I
yeah,
have six of them.
yeah. I used to make I used to make fun of people when they had it, because I'd be like, that's not metal. And like, even I know like John Five would play him. I'm like, but he's got humbuckers. That's cheating. You know what I mean? But like, honestly, someone, I'd just be like, and then like I got a bunch of them too now. They can do almost everything, and they just have that.
Yeah.
They have that twang that I've like learned to love, and that sparkle. Man, I wish like people would like use a time machine to like probably like change the history for the better. I would like to go back and like really beat myself up, over like just how like closed minded and just had the blinders on, because I've missed out on like a lot of great stuff,
Well,
and a
see,
lot of,
go ahead, finish
no, no,
that.
just a lot of stuff where, learn how to chicken pick is an amazing thing. Like, especially to like up your skills as a guitar player. You got two
Yeah.
hands, you got 10, use them all. You know?
Yeah. And no, I mean, I'm honestly, what I was going to say is I'm kind of the same way, but backwards. Like, I was so close-minded to the country guitar world. Like, that's all I thought about. Like, if you don't have a telly, you're wrong, this, and this. And, don't get me wrong, I'm very biased to my Telecasters, but I was the same way when I got into the rock scene is like, okay. You know, Music Man guitars are cool. I love Ernie Ball Music Man, my absolute favorite guitars on the planet because I love Steve Lukather, and that was my first Music Man. And it's just I was the same way. I'm like, I can't be closed-minded because I go play this Lukather guitar, and it's an HSS setup, so it's basically a Strat with a humbucker in it. And I'm like, man, this can do the same things. It's a little different. It's got its own vibe, but I was like, don't be afraid to branch out. And then when I bought my first Les Paul, man, I thought I was king of the world. I thought I was Billy Gibbons. I'm
Mhm.
like, man, you know, I, it's nice to be able to try these different guitars and try these different gears. And it was, basically the same thing you said. You were closed-minded to my world. I was closed-minded more to yours of the past. And it's like, you just got to open that up. And once you explore it and really get to know it, it's really fun. And that's kind of the same thing I'm doing with guitar. It's like I've learned the country stuff, obviously not perfected it by any means, but now I'm going back and learning all the rock stuff and all the blues stuff that I've been missing out because I feel like it's going to make me a better country player. I know that was a ton of information I just rambled about, but
Oh,
no, man, what you said was spot on.
and like with you, like Time on My Hands has a very blues, that the bump, the bump, like,
Yeah.
and like once you learn how to like, the blues scale is, once you get that, man, you can just, it just never gets old.
Oh, yeah. I feel like you could do is anything with it.
Yeah.
And that on those records, that's my guitar player actually in my band now, Hunter Parody, playing those guitar parts on those records, and I've learned a lot from him, honestly, just being around him for such a long time, even before he joined the band. Just seeing the way you can mesh all those different styles of music for a country record, but you can mesh blues playing and John Mayer-ish kind of playing with rock playing and country playing and put it on a country record. Like it does work for certain songs. Yeah, you put some twang on it and it's country, but I feel like it all has the same roots when it comes down to it. And we were able to really sum it up on a lot of those songs. And Time on My Hands is definitely a great example. I love that song.
Yeah. It's got, like everything, and very clever writing. Did you write that, or?
I didn't. That song was actually written by my first producer, Daryl Dodd, who was a big thing down here in Texas for a very long time and still is, and we're still good buds. But yeah, man, he made that first record on the production side with us, and he had that song when he was still signed to a label back in the late '90s. They had put it out, but it's not out anywhere. You can only find it on YouTube. I'll send you the
Yeah.
original version because it's so hard to find. But my buddy that introduced me to Daryl said, "Listen to this song. Like this is not out publicly, other than on the one place on YouTube." I'm like, "Man, I have to cut this." So Daryl was very kind enough to let me cut it and put my own spin on it, man. And honestly, it's become a crowd favorite, and I owe a big thank you to Daryl and that team for letting me do that. But no, man, we definitely got to have some fun with it because it's a lot different than the original, and that's what I like to do. I'm not opposed to doing songs on my records that other people write. But I like to make it just enough me, but still give enough credit back to the original person that did it. And every project I do, I like to have at least one song like that because it really just shows where I came from. And there's a couple on that project actually that have that vibe. But "Time on My Hands," man, that's definitely one of my favorite older, if you want to call it that now, songs. It's a good one.
Yeah. And dude, like I love when like my favorite bands do covers. It just it gives, like you said, it gives you just into their past, into their passion, what they like, and I just like hearing other people's takes because like Drew
Yeah,
Herrickle told
man.
me like a record is just a moment in time caught on media,
That's a
and like
great way to put it.
and I like even like if you have an album version, but when you play it live, you have a different live version. I love
Yeah.
that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot on like the metal side. Like you can tell, like if you're a musician, you can tell they're playing to a click, and they're playing to like backing tracks, and there's no room to like breathe. And I like when a band
Yeah.
when they look over and they say, "Oh, you're getting it. Go a couple of bars." You know, I love
Man, yeah.
that, and you know what I mean. It's like we'll play like my band. We'll play like covers, and it's covers people have been listening to like 30 years in a row, and they'll be like, "Oh, I like what you did with that solo." And I'm like, "Cool, man. That's what I like." Like you
Yeah.
try to stay root to it, but I really like now I have to hear the original of it because it's interesting to have somebody's take on another song and how sometimes like they can end up like really like commanding it and you know when you do a cover so well people think you wrote it. that's
Yeah.
that's another weird phenomenon that you know, especially like when Johnny Cash did Hurt. I was just
Yeah.
I was Nine Inch Nails Hurt was like one of my favorite songs. That was my first introduction to him, and it's it took a while to be like, okay, you know.
It took me forever to realize it too. I'm like, no way. Yeah, this isn't Johnny Cash's song. But I thought it was because he made it such his own.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about it. He still paid tribute. I mean, the lyrics of that song are incredible. But he made it his own. Obviously, he turned a rockish song by a rock band into a country song. So no, man, that's just what we try and do. And I'm not opposed to. I've been tossing around the idea of throwing some of my past into our set, and that being some of the rock stuff, some of the heavy stuff. But we got to make it country because we're playing
Yeah.
country bars. We can't go in there with seven strings ablazing. I want to, but and I'm trying to convince my band to let me buy a seven string because I want one really bad. But I'll get caught up on it and we'll be playing songs with seven strings on it at the country bar, and everybody's gonna be trying to two step, going, what is that? And there's a whatever the low note on a seven string is. I always forget because I get them confused with basses. But whatever, when you hit that, it's like whoa, it really shocks the place. But man, it's definitely been tossed around the idea of throwing some of that. Yes, the seven string, it may come, it may not. But, I've always loved the idea of bands of different genres trying out other genres. I think it's the coolest thing when people go out on a limb and do that. And, Johnny Cash is a great example with the Nine Inch Nails song. But, there's so many I've seen do it, and it's just some do it right and some do it wrong, and there's no wrong way to do it, but everybody has their preference. That did kind of sound a little rude, my bad. But it's just I love having fun with it, and just exactly what you said, man, making it your own but still paying respects to the person that did it before you. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Now, is there any heavy songs that like if you were to sit down and pick up your telly, is there any heavy songs that you like to countrify?
Man, I've been thinking about it lately. I love Alice in Chains because my dad loved Alice in Chains for the longest time, and my favorite band at the moment, because I'm a Texas boy, Fort Worth's not that far. I love Toadies. I've really been into the Rubberneck album, and Possum Kingdom. I've been listening to that song since I was 4 years old. But so man, we actually used to play Possum Kingdom in our set. We would play like the intro of it, and I'm like, okay. But there's younger people coming to the shows, they may not understand that. Not age discriminating at all, but some people just don't listen to that era, and I wish they would. And that's what we try and do. So I think we're gonna bring it back. But Possum Kingdom's one of those songs. It's just enough rock and roll, but it's just enough country. I don't even, I may get hate for not being able to properly say what genres all this is because there's so many subgenres, but it
Yeah,
just kind of fits perfect because Toadies kind of have that Texas grit that we all love, but they have their own thing too. So I love that song. I love Alice in Chains. I'm a big, my rock and metal tastes go all over the board just because I love it all. I love the old stuff. I love the new stuff. I love the heavy stuff. Obviously Pantera from right down the road. You know, all that good stuff, man. There's so much I could talk about it for hours.
yeah,
But definitely, Alice in Chains and Toadies have been the latest telly pickups, and I'm working on the rest of it. I just gotta learn how to sweep pick and all that. That's the next task on my list.
yeah. That it's actually really easy to do. Once it clicks, you'll just be like, oh, you know,
Well, yeah. Well, and see, I've started to notice that because there's this guy I follow on Instagram that I kind of know. He plays guitar for Brooks and Dunn now. And the other day he was making fun poking at fun at one of his friends, and he was playing a Brooks and Dunn song like the record. Then he just goes into the sweep pick solo. Just he's like, "You think you'll like this?" And he starts sweep picking. I'm like, it doesn't look as hard as it sounds, but at the same time it's the finger stretching. That's and just raking it across the strings. I have not figured that out yet, but yeah, I don't know if you do that or not. I imagine you do if you're, a rock guy, but that's new on my radar, but it's definitely something I've been wanting to learn because I know country guys that can do it, like the guy I was just talking about. It's like he just busted that out, but he'll in the next story he'll play the most country thing, and that's kind of the guitar player I want to make myself into somebody that can really do it all because a lot of my heroes as a musician is take songwriting, singing out just on the musician side could do all those different things, kind of like a Swiss Army knife. And
yeah,
that's where I've really put my head at with, on the actual music side of things. So yeah, sweep picking is next for sure.
yeah, dude. Once you get it down, it sounds awesome. Like,
Yeah, I know. I want to do it so bad.
yeah, you just there's like you can just even do shapes, and yeah, you can move it up and down, and it sounds like you're doing like a hell of a lot, but you're really not. It's just more just a rhythmic. It's interesting because
Yeah, I bet.
when I first got into guitar, I wanted to be like super technical. Like I used to like do like the tapping real fast,
Yeah.
like Eddie Van Halen and get like that. And now I'm like, I'm getting older, I'm like, man, I want to play more like Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Mayer and Derek Trucks and just like, cause like I don't sing, like unless it's absolutely necessary that I have to be on a mic singing. I don't sing, but those
Yeah.
those guys make their instruments sing, and
No, dude, that's no lie at all. I mean, and honestly, I've been the same way. The older I get, and major props to all those guys. Eddie Van Halen was like the first rock and roll guitar player. I mean, I feel like he was kind of the one we all got into at first. But Eddie and Dimebag Darrell and Steve Vai and all those
mm,
great guys, man, like it's so cool. Like it's so neat. It's so different. But the more I've gotten older, and I finally got a Strat, like a nice Stratocaster, I'm like, I want to play like Stevie, or I want to, Derek Trucks, all at Marcus King, so many of those
mm,
great guys. I love the speed and I love the technicality of it, but I also love the feel. And not
yeah,
saying there's not feel to those guys either. And Lord, I don't want to ramble too much and get in trouble or make somebody mad. But I just feel like I've slowed down more and just I've been really into the blues thing lately. So that's definitely been on the radar. So all those guys you just said right there are all favorites of mine. But on the back half of that, just playing like those guys has been kind of a priority lately because that's the best way to put it is that's something I would use in my career. I
yeah,
don't need to sweep pick in time on my hands. I want to, but I know I don't need to.
yeah.
But I can throw the feel stuff in some of our slower songs, and it's just been a big thing I've been studying lately. So Yes. Sorry, I'm rambling so much. I talk
Oh,
so much. I'm a nerd.
that's good, man. I'll dig, dude. It's like one thing I've never been able to command is the slide. And I was just watching. I don't know if you Taylor Honeycutt, her one guitar player Tyler is like amazing on slide. I just staring at him. I'm like, man. And I just went up to him. I was, I've been, you know, I've been able to talk to him because I'll say friends. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, man, I love how you play, man. I get so jealous. He goes, when I watch you play, I get jealous. I can't play like that. I'm like, all right, I'm like, man, I wish we could just like switch like USB drives to just,
Yeah.
you know what I
Well, dude,
mean?
that's how I was like, and I'm still working on my slide, but that's how I was when I went and saw Wolfgang Van Halen. And he
Oh,
would just play all those solos. I'm like, man, I wish I could play like that. Like it's a mix of all the great playing I feel like that I like, and it's like, man, I want to do that. And like you said, switching the USB drives, like that's something you wish you could do with one of those guys for a day. Like, here, you take some of my knowledge, but I want like 95% of yours.
yeah,
Yeah, because I don't have a ton, but I'm just out here doing the thing, trying to do it the best I can. But there's so many guitar players, like you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, her guitar player is phenomenal, and the slide thing, and that's the next thing I got to figure out because I cannot do it
yeah.
at all.
I was talking to Justin Ross, and he's just like, just start on like one string, just sing on one string. I was like, man, that's a great approach to it, and that's just kind of how I've been doing it. But like, yeah, like being a metal guy and just being blown away, like Brent Mason and Johnny Highland, it's
Oh,
just
dude.
it's incredible.
Johnny Highland's actually a great one. Johnny Highland was one of the first Nashville guys that I got into as a guitar player because he he is truly a Swiss Army knife. When I say that term, because if you watch like his live streams he does on Facebook, he'll get on there and play the most country thing. And he has a record out he does this on too, but he'll get on there and play these country songs, and then bam, the next thing is Call Me the Breeze, the Skinner cover that he did on one of those records. And he's sweet picking and just the most melodically fast, insane things you could ever think of on this country record. And that just goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I want to be able to do it all so I can put it on a country record. But no, man, those are great guys to study if you're getting into it. Johnny and Brent. Those were my two guys in the beginning. I studied religiously on country guitar.
Yeah, learn about those. Like it was amazing to learn about them, and it's just like, man, like all like the guitar worlds I grew up reading that always brought up like
Yeah.
the 100 best guitar players, 50. And I'm like, they were never like on it. I don't remember, like the big name guys, and it's just you play guitar, you love guitar, and you think you know everything about it, and then like it's a great feeling. Like some people will be like, "Oh man, like I'm the best," and that's not the way to be. Like going out to a show and getting humbled is the
Oh yeah.
best thing for me because as soon as I leave there, I'm not stopping for any late night snacks. I'm going home and getting on my guitar and being like, "How did he
Well,
do that?" Or
dude, that's how I was. The best example, I play a lot of different instruments, and the greatest example of that I've ever had in my life is I'm obsessed with the band Toto. Africa, Rosanna, Hold the Lines. I could name so many songs by them. I'm obsessed with them. I mean, they're all some of the best studio musicians, in America at least. And that was a great example of like being humbled by a show in all aspects. I went and saw Toto, and Steve Lukather took a minute and a half long guitar solo, just him. And I have the whole thing on video. And I just sat there in my seat. I said, man, I- I'm gonna go practice for a month straight and just not leave my house because it's just. And then everybody in that band's so phenomenal. All the different lineups they've all been A-list players, and it's like you go to that show, it's like, okay, show's over, get me home. I'm gonna go practice, every instrument I know how to play that they were playing. So, man, that's no, you're not wrong at all about the being humble thing. But I love it because getting to see that in so many different genres is the coolest thing because it inspires you to really broaden your range. And I mean, I love all kinds of different music, and I love to go to all different kind of shows, from small shows to big shows. I just love seeing music. I love seeing people do the craft that we all love so much and do it in their own way. I think it's the coolest thing, whether it's rock, rap, R&B, country, metal, whatever you're doing. It's just cool to see people paving the way and doing it their own way.
yeah, yeah, That's like I just wish there's like a lot of like tribute bands out here, and it's just I get like jealous because you guys have so many like like you could just like walk around and just find original artists wherever you
Yeah.
go down there. I really like how because I've had a couple people from up here go down to Texas, and the people that run the venues or something, they always like hit me up and be like, "Hey man, let them know we're not a we appreciate a couple covers, but make sure they come down and be original. We're not here.
Yeah.
We got a jukebox." And I was like, "Man, I love that." Because you know,
No, it's definitely not a bad mentality to have.
yeah, and covers have their place. It gives I think it gives people a baseline of how you are and your sound. And you know, who doesn't want to sing to know the words to the songs and feel a part of the show as well. So I think
Yeah.
it does help with that. But man, it's cool to find like especially like those fans that found you when you're playing like, you know, 10, 20, 30 people, and there's people that fall in love with your music. That's a different kind of fan.
Oh,
Like
100%.
they're the ones they drive. They if they know you're doing something that nobody will be there, they'll be there with posters saying, you know, number one Ryder Grimes, you know, like
Yeah. Well, dude,
and,
that happened yesterday. Like we were at this place playing an acoustic gig and I got off. It was a Texas Independence Day festival and I got off stage and I was walking around meeting everybody because that's the one thing that I love to do is just meet everybody because you know they're the reason we get to do what we do. So I'll definitely spend time until everybody has gotten to hang out, gotten to talk, gotten to do whatever. And I talked to this one couple and they're like, we've been following you for like 5 years. I'm like, no way. Like they were naming places that I forgot I'd even played because they were so long ago. I'm like, and I really just thought in that moment, I said, man, these are the people that just makes you think, keep going. Because they all, I feel like, especially doing it in the country world and then mainly in the singer-songwriter country world, it's a family, no matter how big or how small it is. It's a family and they're going to have your back. And that's what I've really started to appreciate and understand better. It's like, man, there may only be 30, 50, 100 people at these shows, but they're going to appreciate it and they're going to go tell people about it. So you just got to keep your head up. And that's been the biggest lesson I've learned over the past year and a half. And it's really given me a whole new drive and mentality to keep pushing, man, because good things come out of hard work. And I'm a true believer in hard work. So that's where I'm at with my career, just trying to keep at it, man. And, that's a great way to put it. And I definitely saw that yesterday and I've been seeing it a lot more and more. It's like, man, these people like what you're doing. Just keep going because I get in my head a lot. And I have to remind myself that people enjoy what's going on, and you just got to keep it up and be humble always. That was the biggest lesson I've ever learned is always be humble because be a good person because I feel like people are gravitated to good people, and I'm gravitated to nice and polite people. So I feel like that's the kind of example I want to set for the younger audience that's coming up, and no matter what it is, you just got to be a good person and just keep doing your thing, be yourself. That's been the biggest card I've been preaching lately is man, just go out there and be yourself. You don't got to
yeah.
put on the costume.
Oh, did we lose you?
Somebody else called me. And my
I,
phone is on Do Not Disturb, by the way. People should not be able to call me.
I
And
hear
I
you.
let people know. But no, basically what I was saying, man, is you just go out there and be yourself. Do your thing and don't let anybody tell you no. That's been the biggest thing lately. Because I've always been a nice guy. I've always had a very kind heart, and I was always afraid to tell people no. But sometimes you got to do that, man. You just got to say no. I'm doing this my way, and I'm gonna, if people like it, people like it. And I think people are gravitated toward authenticity, and that's been the biggest thing I've learned lately. It's just, they may not like it now, just like Marty McFly said, y'all may not like it now. Your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah,
So that's just kind of my mentality right now. It's like y'all may not, but one day I'm gonna reach you. So just keeping the head down, man. Keeping the foot on the gas. That's the way it's been over here.
yeah. Now, do you have something that you would think would stand out, especially because I know you like style.
I love style.
Yeah. Is there
I love. Go ahead.
no? Just maybe it's something you do, but if people were thinking of like something stylish that you do, what would you let want them to think?
Well, man, it's always been so weird. I was literally talking to somebody about this morning because, like, the outfits I wear, I love to wear like nice jewelry and designer and all that. And, some people have their opinions on it. I don't really care, but I wear all that, but then I come out and I sing with this country voice that I don't think people expect it. So that's been my little party trick lately is that, I show up and I feel like people portray what I'm gonna sound like, and then I sound completely different, man. Just using my voice. I've really started to learn, especially now that I have a vocal coach. It's really showing me the ropes and teaching me to not do what I was doing wrong, because apparently I was doing a lot wrong that was very damaging. So I'm kind of relearning how to sing, but it's been very worth it because I've been able to explore the actual range my voice has, and all the different stuff about your lungs and all the air you have. And man, that's been my biggest thing. Like I said lately, my little party trick is that I have a I'm finally accepting that I like my voice. There for a while, I was frustrated with, 'cause like, man, I can't do this, and this like this person. I realized, man, just own it. It's your voice. Do that, but in your own way. And that's been my thing lately. Is yeah, I wear cool clothes and cool fashion, and I love old cars and trucks and all that. But then I've got this country voice, and I love like my three top genres of music, and this blows everybody's mind because they're like, "You don't listen to country?" I'm like, "Yes, I do listen to country." I always gravitate back to it in my singing and in my songwriting style. But man, honestly, like when I'm just driving down the road, I've either got rap on, I've got metal, or I've got like alternative rock. Like those are my three. And I feel like that's been a big thing different because, difference about me, I'm not trying to brag, but by any means, 'cause it kind of sounds like it, but I just feel like that's just been one of my selling points. Like, man, I just like it all. I'm just having fun. I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful that they have accepted me enough to let me write songs and put them out to the world and, get on the road and go play them for people, man. That's what I'm most thankful about. And everything else, whether it be the swagger that people say I have, which I still don't know the correct meaning of that term, so I say that very lightly. But or the voice, whatever, man. Like I said, I'm feeling very blessed lately to just get to do this for a living. And it's been a hard hill to climb, but you just gotta, tighten your boots up and keep going, man. Keep your head down. That has been the biggest thing. I know I've said it a bunch, but you just can't let people rattle you. You have to use what's uniquely yours and put it in their face. Let them show, hey, this is me, and I'm not changing, and you're gonna have to accept it, or I'm gonna do it my own way. And that's been the way I've been thinking lately. And I feel like it's really helped me mentally. It's helped me physically. It's helped me have a better attitude toward what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it is funny. Like it almost like being an artist. It's almost like a test. Like I've had when I used to like book the band, and they'd be like, "Why should I book you?" And it always sounded weird because I'm like, I'm not really conceited because I would be like, because we're the best band you're ever going to hear. And he goes, "Oh yeah, well, we had these guys here," and I was like, all I'm hearing is you can pay me more, But like,
Yeah.
and like my buddies would be like, "Yo, you can't really say that." The guy was, "Oh, you play guitar with blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, you should stick around. I'm the best guitar player you're ever going to hear." And it's not true, but and you sell
Yeah.
them because it drives a
You got to
little.
sell them.
Yeah, it's just people are like, "Man, I couldn't do it." I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing it either. But like, it's almost like a test, like, oh, are you really good? It's like, dude, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, like that line of where you're like, you don't want to be like, the Superman popped out chest, but it's fun,
Yeah.
when you're like,
Yeah, man. I mean, you just got to own it. You got to know that there's a difference. And I've had to learn this too. There's a difference in an ego, like being a jerk about it. And
yeah,
there's a difference in an ego with knowing that you belong. And that's been what I've struggled the most because I always feel like knowing you belong is an ego and you're a jerk. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily that. You're good enough to hang with these guys.
yeah,
And my biggest thing I've always lived by was run with people bigger than you, run with people with more success than you. Because if that's who you want to be, that's who you need to surround yourself with. And I've really taken that to heart, man. And that's just, no offense to anybody. And I hang out with anybody, man. If you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care how successful, I don't care, wealth, nothing. That's out the window to me. If you're a good person, you're a good person. I'll gladly hang with you. But on a professional aspect, that's what I should have said. Like, if you're in a business setting, like you're trying to up your business knowledge or up this, and this with your business or your brand or your talent, run with people that always be the smallest man in the room, man. Just always be able to take note and learn. That's been my biggest lesson, and it's really helped me. Just be a better artist and be a better businessman.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I always tell people, like, take notes. If you see somebody doing something and you go, man, I need to do that. Just like write it down. Cause like there'll come a time where they might, some big name might be like, hey man, we're thinking about bringing you on. What do you bring to the table? And stuff like that makes a huge difference. Like
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me, they're like, cause I was on like the management side and they're like, they're like, how much money do you make off these guys? And because they're like, we know you're making money off of them. And I was like, well, let me just say, like, I tried to get everybody involved in merch, and
Yeah.
I invested in it, and I sold a ton of stuff, but I kept it in like Google Notes. I'd kept like how the crowd was, how they reacted. Did they want to dance? Did they want to, you know what I mean? And just different things
Yeah.
about different venues. So when you go in, you can be like, hey guys, remember they like this kind of songs. This town likes this. And the guy was like, man, that's it just showed like initiative and like being able to know how to make money on the road, stuff like that. Instead of like just like there's some people that just because they think they're good, it's going to come to them, and you can't
Yeah.
have that attitude. You can have
No,
that when you have the ensemble of 6 tractor trailers and 4 buses,
yeah.
but
Like you've made it, man.
yeah,
No, I mean, you've got to be humble. Know you're good. Know you're talented. Know you belong, but be humble. That has
yeah,
been the biggest lesson learned I've learned in the past years of doing this, that you've got to know that you belong, and you gotta be able to stand your ground, but you also got to be a good person, man. You
yeah,
don't got to be a jerk to people, and that's what I've learned. Not that I've ever been that way, just because my heart won't let me be, even though sometimes I probably should. But it's just I've realized the more yeah, I've met people that are like that, and I don't think it's because they mean to be. I think it's because they're unhappy, and and all you gotta do is you show them some love, and just hope that they change by that. And it's sad, but you never know what people are dealing with, man. And
yeah,
I try and love everybody, and that's what you're supposed to do. And it's just it's just you gotta. I feel like just if you're happy and you're you know, humble, people see the enjoyment you have with what you do. And that's no matter if you're working a regular job, if you're writing songs, if you're, riding horses, whatever you're doing, if you're happy there, people are going to see that. And that's the biggest thing I've had to do is just throw the stress out, throw the anger out, because it's going to happen. You're going to
yeah,
get mad at somebody. You're going to get mad at something. You're going to get stressed. It's like, yes, that can overtake you really quickly, but man, you got to throw that out. Stress will kill you. And
yeah,
that's been a big thing that, especially my dad, he's like, man, you don't want to be like that. He said, don't stress about little things, no matter what it is. And that's been a big lesson. And it's really made me better mentally, better physically, and just a better person all around, to just realize that, yes, it can get to you, but you have to throw that out. And that will make you happier and make you treat people better.
yeah. And man, it's nice to be around people like that. It's
Yeah.
it's a great atmosphere, especially traveling can be really rough on a band, and when you're around people that have that attitude, it just makes things so much easier.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, I've seen good and I've seen bad doing this, and plenty of other people have seen way more than I have, but I've been very lucky and very blessed to have gotten to know and meet a lot of great people in this business and see honestly the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's a lot of ugly, but there's also a lot of good. And you have to take it and just continue to be an inspiration. That's because I'm on the younger side. I always like to say, to my guys as well, like, hey man, set a good example. There could be children here, there could be younger folks here, and the last thing you want to do is go out there and make a fool of yourself, because those people look up to you. Those people paid to be here. Go, and everybody has their on stage annex and whatever they do, and there's no disrespect to that, but this is just me, my opinion. Go out there and set a good example. And that's how I've always thought about it, and that's what we try and do, man. because there's younger people at these shows, and it's like you want to be respectful of that, and you want to respect their families and their parents who paid to come see you. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been my thing lately, man. And like it all leads back to making you happy and making you enjoy what you're doing. If you see people truly enjoying it, and if you're enjoying it, that's the biggest thing. But no, man, I truly do love what I do, and I've learned so much. I know I've said that a bunch, and I'm bad about repeat myself, but no, man, I've learned a lot the past 2 years really doing this, on a more full scale level. And there's a lot of good and the bad and the ugly out here, but you kind of got to deal with it all and just take lessons and notes from all of it. Like you said, write things down or take videos. Like any show I go to, I'm videoing because I'm going to learn something from it.
Yeah.
And just it all goes back into taking inspiration and making yourself a better person, a better artist, a better songwriter, a better whatever you're doing. So, man, great. Thank you for bringing that up. That was a great topic.
Yeah. And going forward with what you're doing now, do you have like a set of goals that like you're just like you just have a piece of paper and you say this is what I am going to do, like certain venues, just certain aspects of the career that you just really like. You may not know how you're going to do it, but you're gonna you're gonna try to get it done.
Yeah. Well, man, there's definitely some. Yeah, I've been very thankful to play a lot of my dream venues just on the dance hall side of things, and that's great. And I would love to go back to those. That's definitely on the goal list. But man, just touring heavy and getting the social media right. We're already doing well on that, but just really growing it, man. Because it's like Braxton Keith. I always use an
I was
example.
gonna bring him up.
That's yeah, dude. I mean, the dude's stupid talented already on his own, but it's just if you go look at his social media, it's like look how that work's done. And I just brought on a new guy to our camp, Darius, who is our phenomenal new photographer, videographer on the road guy. And it's like we have that attitude and we have this plan together and we're going to really tackle that this year on the road and just boost this thing, get it out to as
Yeah.
many people. So that's honestly number one on the priority book right now, because obviously we can tour and write songs and do all that around that, because that all thankfully it all kind of works together in this business. But that and writing a killer new record, because we just finished up one project and we start writing the new one tomorrow for May. I think we're going to start cutting that. So man, it's a
Nice.
never ending cycle around here, but man, just writing really good songs. I feel like I'm transitioning into a new phase of my writing career, and getting the social media game, man. I feel like it's always gonna be the song
Yeah.
at the end, but there's so many different ways to get that song out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you have to figure out on the other end. You have to write the song and then you have to get the song out there. So it's kind of just weighing that right now, 50-50 on both ends, just trying to kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna bring up Braxton. He was on the podcast before, and I was like, dude, your social media has because he's super talented like yourself, and it's just like you hear your voices, and that should be enough. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, I sound like this, and it's like, okay, well, you're a superstar. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
not everybody can do that and do it with how well you guys are. And I was like, man, like just the way how he did the social media. It gets to show that he's funny, he's respectful, he's always with the fans and interacting and just what I mean? It's just another side of it. And then you get to see him perform live. And if something does happen, he stops and makes sure the crowd's fine. Because I know a lot of people that are always they'll say, "Hey, is it safe to go there alone?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." Like you hear things and you think, and it's just really cool to see that side of of an artist, and
Yeah.
it's entertaining, and you feel like you get to know him more without actually having to, you know, hang out or be with them. And I just really think that's just like a cool, especially because like it's not really taking up his time. It's not
Yeah.
him. It's not him with the camera in his face himself talking to the camera himself, which sometimes I just can't.
I can't do it,
Yeah,
man.
it's a weird point of view, but it just feels more organic if somebody else is doing the filming. And you know what I mean? Obviously, you're going to edit out something if something went bad, of
Yeah.
course. But
Been there, done that.
yeah, right. Uh, cut. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to cut that.
yeah. But I mean, it's just unfortunate. It's another job where not only are you a great singer, now you have to be a great actor, or
Yeah.
be
And
on screen, more
yeah, you
accessible.
got, yeah. And
Which
that's me, man. I run my mouth so much that it's just people run their mouths too. I just wrote a song about it actually. It's a funny little, tune about people just always talking, and I'm one of those talkers. I mean, not stirring up drama or nothing. I like to talk, man. I'll sit and talk to you for 2 hours, but it's like I have to know, like, okay, I cannot just sit here and ramble for 2 hours. Like I got to go do this, this, and this. But Darius is always back there filming it, and it's just like, man, and when I say that, it's not like that I'm saying anything bad or rude
yeah.
or hurtful. It's just I don't really cuss in front of a camera because I don't need the world. I don't want the world to kind of get that. I have
Hmm.
no problem with it, but I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I've just never been comfortable doing it. So when I'm talking, sometimes I'll slip it in there. I'm like, "Oh, Darius, cut that. I
Yeah.
can't say that." But I mean, that's just how I've always thought. Like I said, no hurt, no hate for anybody that does it. And I have had them slip out before. It's like sometimes I'll say something like, "Man, that I shouldn't have said that because that's not something I would say." When it's just that kind of language. But no, man, other than that, it's fun. It's neat. It's always a fun process. Like yesterday, this is going to come out in a few days. Somebody walked up to me after the show and handed me a Sharpie and she said, "Sign my arm. I'm going to get this tattooed tomorrow." And Darius wasn't recording, but I called over. I said, "Darius, get over here." I said, "You got to record this." So it wasn't as natural as I wanted it to be, but it still was. It's just, it's something that like Braxton, those guys that are just doing that would do. Like
Yeah.
I've taken so many notes from watching his videos and seeing him interact with people and just being himself. Like I have that personality. You just have to break me out of my shell because I'm a very shy person.
Yeah.
I'm very to myself, and I've learned that like, hey man, you have to talk to people more than 3 words. So I've gotten better about it, and it's either 3 words or 250 words. So it's it's a big mix, but it's like, man, the camera thing, having the camera always on me. I mean, I'm not gonna, do anything that's stupid, to get in trouble. It's just like I'm not used to having the camera on me, so I'm a little camera shy. Red button shy is what I call it. But I'm learning more and more to just be. I just hey, just forget it's there. Just be yourself, and it's honestly been really fun to learn, man. I've really learned a lot doing media. I don't want to call them classes because they're not, but just like working with people that know what they're doing on the media side of things and just learning how to interact. That's why I talk with my hands so much because you can blame that all from being in front of a camera so much is that I talk with my hands. And it's just things to show personality. And I'm a
Mhm.
very dry person. Like I typically I'll just sit here like this and talk. And like you were saying, how my singing voice and my talking voice sounds the same. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but at the same time, that's what my vocal coach is trying to get me out. He's like, man, you need to talk with more like personality. He's like, you need to get out of your one little vocal range. Just get out of your comfort zone. And I have been, and it's helped me as a singer. But no, it's just I've become more colorful as a person to interact with. Like I will cut up and I'll joke around and I'll do the funny voices and stuff. Whereas a year ago, dude, I was petrified to do that. But now I've kind of become this. I don't want to call it a character, but it kind of is a character. Like I'm Ryder Grimes, and this is who I am. And
Yeah.
I've always loved to have good, fun, clean fun, man. And now I get to show that to the world, and it's been a fun learning process, that's for sure.
Yeah. Dude, it's just cool to see that. It shows how much you know you want it too as well. And you're trying to make it a great experience on and off the stage because it does. Like I
Yeah,
a lot of people like think I'm like I people people always say they're like, how come you never do like going to the show and all this? I'm like, because I'm not like that. I'm not the dude that's like in the airport like, oh, we're going to Texas.
yeah, dude,
Woo.
I
I
cannot.
can't.
That's the one thing I cannot do.
It
And I was literally thinking about that the other day. I was watching YouTube shorts, and like this one guy, which I love his channel, but he does like restaurant reviews. And yeah, I mean, Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews is a great
yeah
example if you've ever watched. So it's like,
yeah.
dude,
I'm like,
I just don't, yeah. And I tried to do something like that with hot chicken in Nashville, and I did a few episodes because I love hot chicken. But I based it off of Dave's series, and I gave credit to him, of course. I wasn't just trying to rip him off, so I gave credit, and said this all came from him. But it's like, man, I was watching some of those. I'm like, dude, this guy has some crazy encounters. Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm not that colorful of a personality
yeah
where I can go stand in front of a restaurant. I love what he does for the businesses, but And I would love to do that. And one day I probably will if I just got to break out of my shell a little bit more. But it's like, man, this guy goes out there, he stands with the box in his hand and eats the pizza, and he has the most crazy encounters, and he's just himself. And it's like, man, I want to eventually get to that level of personality, and it's really starting to come out, but it's just taking a little while.
Yeah,
But we're getting there. That's the best way to put it.
yeah. It's funny. I love Nashville hot chicken, like
Oh, it's so
Prince's and
good.
Hattie B's.
Yes.
But what my band put out an EP, and like somehow it was supposed to be a country EP. It came out as comedy, and
Oh, that's great.
I had to re-release it, and it was doing terrible. So I was like, man, I got to do like a shock video, and I did a chicken wing thing where I got like all these hot sauces, and at the end I was like, I need something like over the top. I had an old EpiPen, and I injected this chicken wing with the EpiPen medicine, and then I ate it.
Wow.
I was like, this is how Nikki Sixx ate wings in the 80s.
That's the best thing.
And it went into the wing, and I was like, man, I probably should have Googled what's gonna happen. And I just remember being like, I got so much negative comments. It went like that was like one of the first times like it ever like gone like viral. And it was like somebody could have used that,
That's
somebody could have used that.
insane.
Yeah, and then like people were like, especially like people that like knew me or like family were like, "Oh, what are you, an idiot?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, kinda. I'm like,
I did it for the gram.
yeah. I'm like, did you download the EP? No. So I don't care what you said. I,
Well,
I
no, did that. Go ahead.
no, I just did like I dyed my hair blue. And then I was like, yeah, you get enough shares, I'll try to cut my hair. And I was cut my hair, and I ended up then to shave my head. And it
Oh
was,
wow, I can't do that.
yeah, it was just like I was trying all these things, and it's just, man, I was like, yeah, this isn't me.
No, and that happened, dude. I have the same story, but not as bizarre because it's still on Facebook somewhere. I'm gonna find it and see how many views it has. Like 5 years ago, me and my first drummer, he was a big cowboy guy, and I'm still very good friends with him. He wore like the starch pinstripe shirts and the jeans, like the jeans could cut through a piece of brisket. Like that's how sharp the creases were. And so I got really into that for a while, and I'm still, I still love it. I'm not that extreme, but. Dude, we would at this house that I live in now, we would come over here at night and go in that bathroom right there, and we would hang our jeans up in the shower and just drench them in spray starch. Well, we had a show the next day. It was one of our first shows ever, my first band show ever. I've been doing the acoustic thing, but this is like my first band show. Well, I pull out that pair of Wranglers out of the shower the next morning and iron them up, dude. They were so starched. They couldn't stand up on their own because I don't starch them that way, but it took all I had in me to break them apart to get the legs open. Well, anyway, there was this photographer at the show, and we were loading in. I was getting my jeans ready to put on, and he was filming. He's like, "What you got here?" I'm like, talking about my starched jeans, and dude, it has like 5 million views on Facebook, and it's nothing but hate comments. It is nothing but people saying, "What's this guy? Who's this and this?" Just talking about me, bashing me. This, at the time, very young man, like for my starched jeans. I'm like, man, do people not like this? I'm like, okay, maybe that's not me. Maybe I should just put that aside and let him do that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I got out of that. I'm not wearing starch, crazy starch Wranglers anymore. But that was a good time, and it's kind of the same thing. Not the chicken wing with the EpiPen level, but the hate comment level. I was probably more honestly. I'd never gotten so much hate over nothing. I did nothing wrong. I didn't
yeah,
say nothing wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't this, and this wrong. I was literally just showing off a pair of starch jeans
yeah.
in my hand, and I got so much hate. It was so good.
That's funny, dude. Like I know what you're talking about, 100%. Like the Highwaymen. I didn't know who Chris Christopherson was. Had absolutely
Yeah,
no idea. I didn't know any of the. I knew Willie Nelson had gotten sued by the IRS because of a Bill
yeah.
Hicks comedy, and and I had no idea. Here it turned out I had heard "On the Road Again" before, but I had no idea that was Willie Nelson. And Yeah, and I got Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash wrong. I was like, man, I don't know who's singing right now.
Yeah, you're new to it.
And man, it was exciting because like I'd found out my grandfather liked Willie Nelson, and I didn't really know that about him. So I was like, cool, I'm getting to like get a little bit of experience of kind of like he's gone now, but getting a little closer like when he's not around anymore. And I was taking in
Yeah.
like, man, I'm gonna get to listen to something that he probably, sat in his lazy boy and enjoyed. And I mean, I just innocently listened to it, and you see the comments and like, oh, you can't be a man if you don't. I'm like, I still just
Dude, there.
old country fans. It's just I was like, man, I don't think you understand because the more I saw them all together talking and they're like talking points, I was like, man, the people that like think they're like standing up, like coming down on me. There's no way Willie Nelson would be like, he'd be like, I don't want you as a fan. If you're gonna treat somebody that's like finding my music like that,
Yeah.
I was just like, man, calm down. Like, I never, I get it. Like, some people like grew up like riding in trucks with their dad and having all these great hunting experiences, and it's ingrained in their childhood. Like, they're like Mount Rushmore of country is set in stone and can never be changed. Me, on the other hand,
Yeah.
mine can change day to day because
Yeah. It's
I never grew up. You know what I mean? And then like the same fact, like if somebody came up to you and was like, Eddie Van Halen was a terrible guitar player, you'd be like, what? You know?
Oh yeah, I'd fight somebody. I would defend Edward with all my life if
Yeah,
somebody said that.
because
You know,
it's
everybody has their own opinions, but
yeah, but they're wrong. Yeah.
yeah. But no,
EVA.
man, I completely get what you're saying. Honestly, my favorite thing right now is Facebook drama.
Uh,
It's
it's
the my
endless.
my Facebook feed is amazing. It's all I'm not like a drama filled person, but I hate drama. But honestly, it just cracks me up sometimes to see people get on the internet and argue with strangers.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're never gonna see this person in real life,
Yeah.
and here you are telling him how horrible of a person he is because he doesn't know the difference between Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. Like, it's just stuff. It's stupid stuff, and honestly, it's become my comedy. Like at night, I'll go, "All right, who's fighting on Facebook today?" And I'll just go through there and look. And I'm not pointing fingers because it's usually people I don't follow, but it
Yeah.
pops up on my feed. And man, it's just social media is something else, and you can find some fun stuff. And people will hate for the most random reasons. And
Yeah.
yeah, you bringing that up reminded me of my starch jeans story and all the absolute hell I got over that, man. I mean, I have never like felt so bad in my life. I'm like, dude, I didn't even do anything wrong. Like, I did not say anything bad. I did not do anything bad, and I'm just getting showered with hate. I'd never experienced that before. And now, honestly, it's kind of fun to see what people say, but I don't take it to heart, and you can't take it to heart because there's always going to be somebody that's mad at the world, and they're just going to take it out on you.
Yeah.
But no, man, I completely get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
We've all been there though, and
Yeah.
I get what you're saying about Willie Nelson. Probably you would accept that if you didn't know his music and you're getting into it, man. I mean, any of these artists, I feel that at my level, and I'm sure people like that feel that at his, his or her level. That they're just happy to see people still appreciating their music and more people getting into it.
Yeah.
And that's just what I love about music, man. It brings people together no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter what. It brings people together.
Yeah.
I love it, man. That's kind of my little book closer on anything I do. Is like, man, I'm just happy to be here because I love writing songs that connect people. No matter what you're feeling in life, no matter how you are in life, I want to have a song that's going to connect to you because that's how all those songs connected to me when I was a kid and still do as an adult. It's just incredible what a song and what music can do to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the moment, especially if someone, if they walk into a venue and they never heard you, and they can find something that really
Yeah.
that speaks to them through your song, and it's different. It's just like when I was talking to the BJ from American Aquarium, I said I've been listening to Metallica my whole life, and I know nothing about him personally through his music.
Yeah. Honestly, same.
Yeah, and it's really cool to like to hear to 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 listen to an album and feel like you're like in a conversation with somebody,
Yeah.
stories of something that they've had in their life, and I really because I like reading, and I don't I'm not a big fiction kind of person. I like biographies. I like nonfiction. I like
Same.
you know, and it's cool because like in those 3 minutes, you're getting a story. You're getting like a
Yeah.
novella, and I love that. It's just it's very connecting. You know what I mean? Because I I I never used music like that in a connective like and also like therapeutic way, and it's been really cool that there's a genre that's just like what you're doing is like chock full of that of it just it gives back.
Yeah, man. And I'm thankful to be a small part of it, man. Just keeping the tradition alive, keeping the legacy of the great songwriters that we all know and love. You know, they're getting older, and there's got to be somebody out there to carry that torch on and just keep it lit. And that's what I feel like, that's definitely what I want to do. And I feel like a lot of other people want to do that. And if we all just come together and do it in our own way, do it in our own unique styles, it's going to keep that legacy alive. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm proudest of the most is that I get to be a part of a family like that in Texas and in Nashville. I mean, music connects us without borders, and that's how it should be. And I feel like people really are bad about putting music in a state border. It don't need to be that, man. Write music to get out there to the world.
yeah,
And I write songs about Texas, and I love Texas, but man, I want those songs to connect with somebody too. So it's just like, man, just have the intent to reach somebody across the pond. I mean, we're going to Norway in June to play, and it's
awesome.
like that means a lot that and as people love my music, I'm like, man, that's the goal. I'm writing songs that people in another country that some of them don't even speak English like know and love. Like that really means a lot to me. And that's just where I'm at with my music and my maturity as a songwriter, man. You got to put all the drama and the this and this. You got to do that, and you got to be this person. You just got to put it behind you and write songs, man. Just don't let it bother you. And I've finally thrown that out the window, and I'm writing some of the best songs I've ever written with some of the best collaborators I've ever collaborated with.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. You know, like did you ever like growing up, like someone is listening to your voice in Europe right now, like loving it. It's
Oh, dude,
amazing.
it blows my mind. Like I look at my Spotify numbers, it's like people like listen to me in like Japan. Like that just blows my mind because I never would have thought I would have ever, gotten it out of, Texas. And
Yeah,
if it wouldn't have gotten out of Texas, I would have been happy either way. Just because I'm putting music out, I'm doing what I feel like I was put on this earth to do. But to know it's just traveling abroad and it's daylight somewhere right now, and somebody's listening to one of my songs, and
yeah,
it's the sun's down in in Texas, and it's mind blowing, dude. It's really cool. It's really made me have a new appreciation for music and an even better appreciation for the fans that keep us all out here doing this music thing. We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the fans, no matter where they're at in the world.
yeah, yeah. That's like a lot of the reason why people are like, "Do you ever get tired?" and blah blah blah. Because sometimes the views are down, and I'm like, dude, like this whole channel, it started off something totally different, and now it's just, man, there's like artists like you, and there's so many talented Texas artists that like it's amazing how people I'll let them listen to something like if they ask me like what do you do blah blah and I'll let them listen and they're like whoa this is really good. I'm like they're like why isn't this on the radio? I'm like I I don't know but that's why
Yeah, yeah, you,
I keep I keep trying, you know what I mean, because like
yeah,
there's somebody out there like me that if it ain't Pantera it ain't on my radio, you know what I mean. You're somebody that's just I was very content with having the same stuff over and over and over again because I didn't think there was anything new that I would enjoy because everything I went out and found I was just like nah and the amount of country I was exposed to was all like I guess you call bro country, which it resonates with me zero.
yeah.
And then I heard like Pegasus and the Rooftops and I was like whoa, especially his
I
voice.
still remember that video you did
Yeah,
on
I was
that.
like, this is experimental. It sounds like they're playing like heavy guitars and like this. Every dude can resonate with the words of that song, and it's just like,
Yeah, it's so good.
yeah, it's funny as Pecos's wife came up to me, and she was like, "Are you the guy from TikTok?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Well, Pecos wants to meet you," and I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "Hey, Pecos, what's up, man?" And blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, that video is what really blew it up. And I was
It
like,
did.
Yeah, and because I said Picos, because out here we have a power company. It's called Pico, and it's funny. So many people are like, "You uncultured swine." It's Pecos. I'm like, dude, it's the dialogue. Like, I'm in the Northeast. That's Pico. And I said, there's a lot of controversy about how to pronounce your name. Do you want to settle it right now? We're on his tour bus, and he goes, "Nope, I love it." And I was like, "I got you." And they were,
Dude, that happens to me all the
what,
time.
what did they mispronounce your name?
Not with pronunciation, but with spelling. I'm kind of in
Uh,
the same boat as Pecos is, but with spelling. So I get what he's saying right there. I'm like, let them spell it however they want to, because it's amazing.
oh, you've had some fun marquees.
Oh, dude, I always say every interview I do, I always bring this up, and I cannot believe I have not brought it up. I always bring up that one day I'm going to publish a book of nothing, no words, just pictures of my name misspelled on receipts, on marquees, on posters. Dude, I've got a stack of posters over there. My name is misspelled a different way on each one of them. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's funny. But,
But yeah, I get what Bacon said is the truth though. It's like let it be, and
yeah,
that's how I feel. But it's kind of funny. Like it frustrates me, but I'm like, this is actually kind of entertaining because it's like who actually gets it right, and then who doesn't. Yeah, I'm not hating or whatever,
yeah,
and I try not to be whatever. But sometimes dude, I'll just sit back and laugh at stuff like that. So no hate to you, man. I mean, I get what you're saying there. If you have a company called Pico that if that word looks like that, you're gonna pronounce it like that.
yeah,
Trust me, I do it all the time. That
yeah,
was like the pecan and pecan controversy. It's kind of the same word, that we had going on down here for the longest time.
yeah. And there's a like Salina,
Yeah,
Salina,
Salina
or
in Nevada.
oh,
Yeah, we have Nevada, Texas. It's spelled the same way Nevada is, but yeah, we have Nevada, Texas. It's not too far from Salina, Texas.
and Lukenbach.
Actually, yeah, Lukenbach, that's down in the hill country where I
Yeah,
hang out, and Helotes and Green and Bear and dude, there's yes. If you're gonna come to Texas, you're gonna learn how to pronounce some towns because man, some of them are just Pflugerville starts with a P. I mean, I love it, man. I love being from Texas 'cause that's like how people go like name three songs by this band if they're wearing their T-shirt. That's me. It's like all right, you're in Texas. Name three. Tell me the pronunciation of these three towns. And it's just, I don't do it in a rude way, but sometimes I'll mess with people like that, like, those people do on the internet with band t-shirts. It's like, no, man, we've got some bizarre places down here. They're all great places, but the names are something else.
yeah. I always laugh like when I read a publication of an artist from Texas and Colby Cooper, they're saying, yeah, he's from Palestine, and I was like, wow, he's got no accent. I was like, that's amazing. They didn't put like Palestine, Texas, because it's like I'm supposed to know it's a tech. And I was just laughing. I was talking to John Cott about it. I was like, man, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I hope his family's okay. I know there's like bad stuff going over there, and man, what a clear, concise voice. No accent at all. It's like that's
No,
in
there ain't
Texas.
nothing going on over there in that part of
Yeah,
Texas, but some stuff going on. But Colby's a good dude. I think I met him once, but no, man, I get exactly what you're saying. Texas is bizarre. I mean, I'm from Poetry, Texas.
I love that.
Like all the names, like there's just so many great names, and I feel like my theory is Texas is so big, and they incorporated so many places of it. They just ran out of names, and they just started naming stuff. Like there's towns like named after people, and then there's Paris, and there's Rome, and there's London, Texas, and Sugar Land, and it's called Sugar Land because they grow sugar down there. Like some of it's plain and simple, and some of it's like you definitely ran out of names,
Oh yeah.
and you,
We shall
but I
call
love it,
this
man.
New York,
Yeah,
New
dude, I
Jersey.
don't even put that. Yeah, don't even put it past. There might be a New York, Texas. I don't know. I'm a very proud Texan, by the way. I'm not poking fun, but I am. But no, I think Texas is so big they just ran out of names and started just throwing. All right, your name's Kyle. You're gonna have a town south of Austin named after you, Kyle, Texas. It's just I love it, dude. I love
Yeah.
being from Texas. It's so great, and I just love the history. Texas Independence Day was yesterday, so I'm feeling extra Texan, but. That could be a song right there. No, man, it's great, man. I'm very proud to be a Texan, but I love my Tennessee folks too, and I'm just ready to see this great country, man. It's the coolest thing to get to travel and play music for a living because
Yeah.
I love traveling. I always have, and whether it's just in Texas or I'm abroad, wherever I go, man, I'm just thankful to get to be doing this and getting to see new places. I think it's the coolest thing to get paid to travel. Now,
Yeah.
it may not be very much right now, but still, I'm getting paid to travel,
Yeah.
and it's fun. I have a blast, man.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool to go somewhere where you never been, you know nothing about it, and there's people that gather for you. That's
Yes, it's the coolest.
yeah. It's such a like when we were doing the band stuff, I was like, man, this is so cool. And then like I'd go back to my job and be like, oh, I miss it.
Yeah,
No.
well, that's how I am. We've been off the road for a little bit. And I'm like, damn, like I miss like public interaction
Yeah.
because I'm such a socially awkward person. But then like when I'm gone away from it too long, I'm like, okay, I have to get out of this house and go mingle with people and just talk or be in public because my musician mind, I'm so used to it. It's like if I get away from it, it's like, man, this kind of sucks. Like I want to be back on the road. So.
Yeah.
No, man, being on the road's very fun. If you do it right and just stay healthy and keep your mind right, man, the sky's the limit. And that's just the way you got to think about it. And I'm definitely blessed and thankful to be doing this for a living. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I know that.
Yeah. Well, lucky us that you get to do it because man, you have a great voice and I really, really enjoy your music. And
Thank you, sir.
I definitely think you are the new torch bearer for I guess like a really great would you consider your voice like baritone? Like the new
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's a baritone.
it's just like deep and smooth. Like has anybody been able to describe your voice without the end of someone being able to go, that's what she said?
That's
Oh,
a great way to put it.
Ryder has a rich,
Um,
deep, and smooth voice. That's what she
yeah,
said.
and somebody said it was like buttery velvet.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, those are two things I've never compared or
Oh,
put in the same sentence, but
it's like
it's
Kerrygold.
it's yeah, it's not as dirty as some of the other ones people said. So, I'm okay with buttery velvet, but yeah, some of them there's been some unhinged ones. I'm like, whoa, hey, PG or PG-13 at least. Yeah, some of them were like, your voice is this, this, and this. I'm like, I've never heard that outside of certain situations.
Yeah.
So, it's like I've never heard my voice described that way, but if you think so, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It-
But
like
no, man, I
a
go
review.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say a review that had to be handed to someone else in a brown paper bag.
But yeah, it's that's why. No, man, this has been fun, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me on here.
dude. Thanks for coming
I,
on.
I, dude, I could sit in here and ramble for 3 hours. I'm having a blast, but hopefully everybody on the internet's enjoying it. I forget this is always, live on the internet. So
Yeah, yeah. I just looked at it. I was like, wow, it's been an hour and 22.
yeah, we're cruising.
Yeah,
But no, man, I appreciate you. And if there's anything else, feel free to ask. And I'm here for hours long you need me to be here. But
yeah, man. Like, I guess you already want to. You're gonna cut something around May for
yeah, we're
new
gonna
music.
cut a new project. Yeah, we've got new singles coming out every month until then, but we're about to start working on a new like a full record. So I'm stoked about that. And touring, man, social media, Ryder Grimes music on Instagram, Ryder Grimes on Facebook, Ryder Grimes official on TikTok because that's still here. And yeah, everything in between, ridergrimes.com is the place to that's kind of the hub for all of that. That's what I like to say is that if you can't remember all those names, just look up ridergrimes.com, and that's Ryder with a Y, Grimes.com. And that is the hub for kind of the tour dates, and the merch store is going to be open soon, and everything in between. A lot of good stuff's going on, and I'm just happy to be here, man.
Yeah, and we're happy to watch the rise.
Yeah, man, I'm trying. It's a team for sure, man.
Yeah,
There's no I in team. So I've been thankful to have a good team around me and a great support system of fans and followers and whatever you want to call them, man. It's really helped out. And I really feel a good feeling about this year. If we just keep doing what we're doing, it's going to pay off. I can feel it. And
yeah,
that's just what we're going to keep doing.
yeah,
Nobody's
man.
going to change it.
Yeah, the talent is definitely there,
Well,
definitely.
thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
But yeah, dude, we're definitely gonna have to do this again. I've really
I'd
enjoyed
love
talking to
to.
you. Maybe
Yeah,
when
man.
that, maybe when around May when the you can talk about how things are going and
Yeah, I'd love to.
tell
Yeah,
it.
man. Get on down here to Texas sometime again.
Yeah,
You gonna come to LJT this year?
everybody tells me to go. I know nothing about it. Like a lot of festivals, it's like everybody's been going to them for so long. They know the deal. Like I don't know the deal. I'm like, do I camp? How do I camp? Which is our hotels. I'm like I know like there's some places in Idaho that they're like, yeah, we don't want anybody to ever visit here. You're gonna have to drive 40 hours. And it's just
No
Texas.
airports.
Yeah, yeah. And in Texas, like you got the DFW, you got Loves, and but then it's just like, how do I get out there? Who do I? Because like I can't find anybody that wants to go or can go, And
Yeah.
I'm not a big. I'd like to travel, but traveling with myself, I can find myself getting in just situations because I tend to drink more when I'm like
Yeah. Yeah, you just have a little fun. You're by yourself. You can do
yeah, and I'll be
it.
I'll be finding myself just I don't know like LJ. Everybody says that like Tanner Ussery and Kane and Bryce were like, you got to come down. No, we're gonna show you a great time, and I'm like, really? Like I'll come down for you guys, and it'll be like, well, you don't have a wristband here. You can't come back here, and it'd be like, all right, I'll just stand out here with thousands of
See,
people. I don't.
I've never done it from the crowd side. I was always lucky enough to pass. I think I've only actually been once, but I just happened to go like different times of the week. Like I was able to ride in on the buses or whatever. So I'm very weird about crowds. Like I don't
Yeah,
like big crowds. Like being in them, I'm okay being in front of them, but I don't like being in them.
same.
So I would just like I was like the Mike Ryan crew. I love those boys, and they were very gracious enough to let me tag along with them to LJT in 23. And man, it was insane. It was bizarre because I did like me and Mike's old photographer snuck out in the crowd to film some stuff during Roger Krager's beer shower. It's kind of a famous thing. I'll send you a video of it if you've never seen it. We went out there in the crowd and put like ponchos on and just dude beer everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I've had enough. Let's go back. But no, man, you just it's one of those things. It's great. Larry Joe Taylor's a great dude, and they put on a good festival. It's always very well ran, but you just got to know. I'm not a big music festival guy when it comes to attending them, so I wouldn't know how to tell you to how to survive that. But if you just stay hydrated and just just enough out of the crowd. I don't know if you like being in crowds or don't like being in crowds. I don't, so I'm always in the back. But yeah, staying hydrated is the main thing, and just having fun but being safe. That was the biggest thing. And
Yeah,
like I said, I wasn't in the crowd too much that year I went, but I was in it just enough to realize, okay, if you're not smart here, this could get ugly. But
yeah,
not in a sense that the security or anything's light. It's very well ran, but it's just been people and alcohol. It's that mixture right there, and we've all seen it, man. And things happen, so you just gotta be careful. But no, if I'm home, let me know, and we'll take a trip out to Stephenville and go, man. I'll try and introduce you to as many cool people as I can.
nice. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of it's weird. It's like having a dog. It's a lot of times because I'm like, man, I need to get this dog watch, and it's like, and then people are like, put him in a kennel, and then I get to the kennel, and they're like, oh, he has to have an interview. I'm like, well, that's a fail, you know?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and then he's got to have all these extra shots. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm just like, he's just, yeah. But I would love to go to Texas more. Flying right now, I've never been scared to fly, but oh my
Yeah,
god,
me neither. And I
I'm just
literally wanted to be a pilot, and I'm terrified of it right now.
dude right now. Yeah, I'm like, because I have to respond back. Dude, I'm so bad with responding to emails.
Oh, me too.
I just get so weird. I'm like, because it's like I hate being like, I don't know, I don't know if I'll do it, but I want to. And then if I don't, I feel like they feel like I was just leading them on because I was asked to judge a battle of the bands. I would love to do that down in Texas. Absolutely would love it. But then you got like, I live around Philly and a plane just dropped from the sky. And then I drove to Virginia. I drove over the Potomac, which the other plane went down. And I'm just like, man, to get in an airplane right now, I just,
Yeah.
I
Just
don't
get in
know.
the car and start driving. Better off.
Yeah, 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 I know. And it's just, and like, because I do work. A lot of people I always get some comments. They're like, "Well, how would you know? You just sit in a studio all day." I'm like, "Studio?" I was like, "I got a 9 to 5. Like, I work. And I come home and
Yeah.
do another 8 hours of TikTok, and all those comments, they're all me. I don't have anybody else doing anything for me. So it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. And people just, well, all you're doing is
It
this. I'm
is.
like, it's a lot to sit down and to do it. But yeah, I definitely. I'm like rambling. I would love to go down there because like I can walk around here and nothing because people ask, they're like, "What do you?" That's a lot of followers on TikTok. Does that get you anything? I'm like, no, not really. Sometimes I
Yeah.
get access to some shows, and that's awesome. I love that to actually be able to like talk to the artists and everything. But like in Texas, it's cool to walk around and people go, "Oh, hey, dude, thank you for promoting this music. It's great." I'm like, yeah, you know, I wish I could walk around where I live and people go, "Hey, man."
Yeah, I get that.
I found Ryder Grimes. I found Shane Smith and the Saints. I found Giovanni. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I love that. I loved being the guy like in the car and you go, "Hey, check this out," and get to show
Oh yeah,
someone.
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember when somebody did that with Giovanni with me. They're like, dude, listen to this. I'm like, what am I listening to? Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. It's always cool to be that guy. So no, I completely get what
yeah,
you're saying, man. And you've done a lot of that for myself. I mean, I've discovered a lot of cool songs because of your channel and stuff. And keep doing what you're doing, man. I really enjoy it, and we all enjoy it down here. That's for dang sure, man.
yeah.
I see the shirts, I see the stickers, I see everything, and I do want one of those shirts, by the way, because I will wear
I,
that because it's people recognize that brand down here, and
I
it's really cool.
the CH Lone Star who sponsors Bree Bagwell.
Yeah.
I just talked to him and he's always asked me. I really need to hook up with him because I was selling the shirts and then I bought a bunch of them. I sent them out and the post office lost every single one.
Oh
So
wow.
I was on like 60 shirts. I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, I bought first class. That doesn't involve any type of insurance. And they're like, nope. And I was like, well,
Dang.
I was like, they stole them out of your box. It's not like I physically put them in the mailbox, my mailbox, and you picked them up. You're like, well, we offer no assistance. And I was like, so that,
That's insane.
yeah. So, but well, speaking of Giovanni Milton, I saw him on a festival ad, and he was wearing one of the Country versus Metal shirts, and I was like, dude, that is so cool.
Well, dude, actually, at the studio I record at in Tyler, they have like pictures of like the bigger artists they've worked with on the wall, and Hoosier Brothers was one of those artists, and Milton was there doing some work on one of the records or something. And yeah, he was wearing that shirt, and it's hanging up on the wall in the studio. I'll take a picture of it for you
It's
because
like
I walked past that. I'm like, there it is.
they have it hanging up, the actual shirt.
No, it's that picture
Oh,
of
the
them. Like
picture.
they take a group picture, and he's like in the front, and you could clearly tell what logo it
That's
is.
awesome. I
And I'm like,
told
yeah, that's the first thing I noticed.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to text him. But it's funny is I was like, Milton, you're becoming like my favorite drummer, and he'll always be like, Nah, man, don't say that. But dude, those guys, man, like my love of like 2000s alternative ended because it just went away. It all just became like stale, sterile, plastic. Everybody's sounded the same, and then like boom, I hear them. I'm like, dude, we're back. We're right back.
Geo does it right, man. They have summed that up perfectly. I love that music, and people don't think I do because I mean, listen to me talk. I sound like a piece of cornbread. But no, man, I jammed to that. I remember the first time we opened for Giovanni. Wild to even say. We opened for Giovanni the day that Ramon Ayala came out. And that was different than their other music. And I heard them like, this is insane. And then I walk into sound check and they're playing a tuba,
Yeah.
in the band. I'm like, man, this is so cool. Like but I just love it. Being yourself, showing people what your true colors are, what you love. And they've done that well. And along with so many other great bands, man, it's really cool to see. And you got to see Co Wetzel, didn't you? You got to go to that
Hmm.
crazy show. Were you at that one in
Yeah.
DC
Yeah. I was at
with
the one.
Treaty Oak?
Yeah. Yeah. I was
But
there.
no, Yeah, and there's so many. You've seen a lot of the good ones, but we gotta get you down here to see a bunch of the other ones as well, man. There's so many. I've never seen Shane Smith and the Saints, but I've got to say you're in, one of the people that's got me into Shane Smith. So this
Yeah.
channel has for sure. So I've got to go see that show. But man, like I said, I appreciate all you do for what we're doing. Me, myself, all the other great folks out there, big and small. You've done a lot for us. So I appreciate that greatly. And thanks for having me tonight. It really means a lot that y'all took the time. I've been on this wait list for like a year. So that shows that you're doing something right, man. And I appreciate the support and the love.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Like I said, I really enjoy your music, and I hope people find it through
Thank
this
you, my friend.
and all
Well,
the venues.
if you keep doing what you're doing, man, just keep promoting that music like you're doing. It's gonna get out there for everybody, man. We're just gonna keep on writing them songs. If you keep doing what you're doing, man, it's all gonna work out for all of us. I have a good feeling for us. So, man, like I said, just thank you for all that you do for us, because it really means a lot to see those videos pop up. So it's really cool and super cool to be on this podcast. It means a lot.
Yeah, man, it was cool for you to come on. I had a great time talking to you, and we're definitely going to do it
Oh
again.
yeah, for sure, man. We'll make it happen. Just let me know when.
All right, yeah, definitely will.
Yeah, well, if this is it, man, I appreciate your time, and yeah, thank y'all all for listening out there in internet land.
Yeah,
I've never done a live stream podcast. This is new, but yeah.
yeah. Well, now the next one you do, you'll have the experience.
Yes, and I love it. This has been great, man.
Yeah, yeah, I highly enjoyed it. But yeah, man, I'll let you get back to your night.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you, and we'll come on here and ramble again for a long time, man. I had a blast, and yeah, I hope to see you real soon down here. Let me know if you ever come to town.
I definitely will. If I'm in Texas, I'll give you a holler.
Yes, sir. Well, you be good. God bless you, man, and see you soon.
Yep, you as well, man. Have a good night.
Yes, sir.